Well, Peter Zalmayev is director of the Eurasia Democracy Initiative, and he's just returned from Ukraine. And on Saturday, he met with the country's Prime Minister in New York, and he joins me from New York now. Let's just talk about the vote, what's happened in the last few hours in Crimea. What is your response to it?
Well, the vote did take place, and there were no surprises there. Apparently, upwards of 90% of the voters voted for joining Russia. Now, obviously, you have to consider that the vote took place amid numerous violations of electoral standards. You also have to consider a massive anti-Ukrainian propaganda that took place prior to the run-up of the elections. And the fact remains that no Western powers, no one in the international community has recognized this referendum and its outcome as legitimate.
Yeah, we know that, and we know the result, but what is your assessment now of that? I presume you're not particularly surprised to hear the result of the referendum, but where do you think we go from here in terms of the significance of what the people, the pro-Russian crowds, have said in Crimea?
It's going to be very interesting to wait and see in the coming days whether Vladimir Putin will actually decide to honor the will, as he would put it, of the Crimean voters and actually allow them to join the Russian Federation. The Russian parliamentarians actually have promised to hold a debate at Parliament and vote on this on Friday. So it will remain to be seen whether Crimea will sort of follow the example of the breakaway republics in Georgia, Abkhazia and South Ossetia, which have actually remained in a legal limbo ever since the invasion in 2008.
You've just returned from Ukraine, where you met with the country's Prime Minister. What was said in that conversation? And tell us, what was the Prime Minister's mood like?
Well, I met the Prime Minister actually when he was on a visit here in New York, and he was meeting with civil society groups here. He had just met with the Secretary General of the United Nations. He told us about his meeting with President Obama and other U.S. government officials. I think that the primary concern is now to have a unified Western response with respect to the referendum. Mr. Yatsenyuk obviously has welcomed the offer of much-needed financial aid to Ukraine, and I think that Ukrainians expect very strong sanctions from the European allies and from Washington on Monday, tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting 24 hours ahead. Peter Zalmayev, thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate your time. Thank you.